make them stop and stare as I zone out. The club can't even handle me right now. Watching you, watching me, I go
There it is.
The club can't even handle me right now.
All right, can you all hear me? You guys hear me? Somebody give me a thumbs up if y'all can hear me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, I just want to welcome you all. As people funnel in here, I want to say thank you to you all for coming to the 6th annual Bluegrass Orthopedics Night of Champions. I want to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Ryan Donegan. I'm one of the orthopedic surgeons here at Bluegrass Orthopedics in Lexington, Kentucky, and so welcome, welcome. Before we get started, I just want to recognize a few of our sponsors who make this, this evening possible. Physician Rehab Solution, Growth Orthopedics, Prep Spin, Bluegrass Specialty Surgery Center, and so many others have contributed to this event and made it possible. And I just want to thank you so much for your contributions. It's very meaningful, and we're very thankful for it. I also want to say thank you to all the individuals who make this night possible. I know it's a lot of work. It's nearly year-round, actually, that they're working on this event to make it possible. So if you've had a hand in this, please give yourself a round of applause. Thank you so much for everything that you've done. But I really want to recognize one person, Andrew Carlson. He is really the engine behind this evening. It was about 7 years ago, he pitched this idea in a group meeting, a partner meeting in our practice. This idea of highlighting student athletes, not just for what they do on the field, but for who they are as people. And I remember thinking vividly that night that I didn't really understand what we were trying to do, that it was ultimately this vision that Andrew had that, in my mind, we've gotten there. He's worked tirelessly over the last 6 years to make this event happen, and I am so thankful for what he does here. I'm proud to call him a friend, and I'm proud to call him a colleague. So thank you so much, Andrew, for everything you do. So why are we here? We're here to recognize some amazing student athletes, individuals who excel on the field, excel in the classroom, and are leaders in their community. And so this is a very special night. Tonight, the agenda is as follows. We're going to recognize some BGO achievement winners, so individuals in that light who have distinguished themselves on those accounts, academics, athletics, as leadership characters. In addition, we're also going to recognize two special individuals, a single female and a single male BGO champion, who truly exemplifies all the ideals of what it means to be a champion. So this is an amazing, amazing night because of those athletes. We're also very fortunate to have a keynote speaker tonight. Erin Wright, who's a product locally. She graduated from West Jessamine High School. She then went on to UK and graduated from UK. She played 4 years of varsity soccer at UK and currently plays as a pro soccer player in the National Women's Soccer League. So we're so thankful and honored to have her here. But before we get started with tonight's agenda, before we get started with tonight's agenda, I want us to just step back and reflect on this evening. Why are we here? And we've talked a little bit about it, but when I've reflected on it myself, I can't help but think about my kids. I'm a dad. I have a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and an 8-year-old, all of whom play sports. In fact, they're actually all at practices or games this evening. I wanted to bring one of them, but he had a baseball game. And when I think about sports for them, I think back to when they were this big. Any parent in this room who has a child who plays sports reminisces about the T-ball days or the youth soccer days or the Pee-wee football days. And if you're a dad or a mom, you think about their performance at that point. You think, well, maybe I've got the next Nolan Ryan or the next Michael Jordan, and you think about that. But what's happened for me, as I've reflected on tonight and also on being a dad of a few athletes, is I've started to think about what sports means. In my mind, sports brings out some amazing qualities in individuals. It brings out teamwork, setting goals and trying to work to those goals with your teammates, discipline, hard work, honesty, integrity, all ideals that I want my 3 kids to take from sports. And in my mind, That's what exemplifies a champion. All of those ideals. It's not how many goals you've scored. It's not how many points you've scored. It's those things that I just spoke of. In my mind, we are in the midst of champions. These student athletes exemplify all of those ideals. And I am so honored to be a part of this evening with them. Now I'm going to introduce and welcome Dr. Wallace Huff, my friend and colleague, for the invocation.
Thanks, Ryan. I just want to echo what Ryan said as to why we're here. I tell you, it's hard to believe it's been 6 years doing this. It's one of my favorite things we do every year, mainly because of the stories. I'm still thinking back to some of the stories of years past that impacted me, and they really have inspired me to continue to grow and change. And I think it'll do the same for you. So really lean into these stories. These stories are amazing. I mean, adversity comes in life and we have to overcome it, but I think I would submit to you how and why we do it more than what we do really is what exemplifies a champion. As Ryan was alluding to, it's more of a character thing. And I think I'm just grateful to be part of the BGO family. We have a excellent group of orthopedic surgeons, but I would submit to you that being a champion is not an individual sport, it's a team event. And we are grateful to be able to play a small part in student athletes overcoming their adversity with injury and that sort of thing and getting them back on the field. But we could not do that without the amazing support staff that we have, amazing physical therapists, clinical assistants, administrative teams. Really, it takes all the skill sets and gifts that these people bring to our organization to really make us be able to function like a champion. And so I would like to just run through the 4 pillars that we talk about of what a champion is. Pollsters a few years ago asked 15 to 18-year-olds what their greatest fear was, and the answer was probably surprising to most people. It was that they have no life purpose. That was their biggest fear. And I think, being a champion gets back to life purpose. As Ryan was alluding to, it's not about wins and losses or, always being the best athlete, but what it teaches you, what kind of person that you become. It's more about the how and the why than actually what you do. And so the first thing that characterizes a champion is they're based on love and not on self-interest. They love their coach, they love their teammates, and they love themselves. And, in this culture, I don't know about you, but in the last couple of years, we've been really gripped in our society by an extremely high level of fear and anxiety. I don't know if you've sensed that, but I have. And I think that makes it hard for kids to love themselves. I think fear drives you to compare yourself to other people. And as high-achieving individuals, that's something that's easy to do. I think if we can put down comparison and really just accept the gifts that we've been given and work to improve those and use those, being a good teammate and seeking the team's best interests rather than your own self-interest really frees you up to enjoy what you're doing and do it with excellence at the same time. So that's the first characteristic of what makes a champion. Number 2 is that champions always give their best. No matter what day, even if they're struggling with an injury or whatever, day after day with consistency, they give their best effort, even if they're not feeling great that day. Number 3, we talk about learning from your mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. That doesn't mean you're a bad person if you make a mistake. You don't need to shame yourself over your mistakes. So that's something we need to just let go of. If you make a mistake, a champion takes that opportunity to learn from it and move on, become better, to improve. And the 4th characteristic of a champion that we talk about is they don't quit. No matter how bad things may get, how bad things look, they continue to run the race, giving their best effort and never quitting. So I think we'll be inspired tonight with the stories that we hear to be champions in our own lives, and I hope that's the case. So if you guys would join me in prayer, let's pray. Father God, we just thank you for every student athlete and family represented here tonight. We our hope is that they would take seriously the offer that you make, God, to have them be their life coach, that they would accept their individual talents and abilities, and that they would use them for the love and service of others. We pray against comparison and insecurity. We pray that our value would be based on how much we are loved by God, not based on what we can achieve in our own self-effort. We thank you for this night, and we know that the ultimate teammate was evidence that you do love us and we do have value, and that was Jesus who gave his life on the cross for us. And when we join God's team, it's that teammate that walks with us through our lives and through eternity. We thank you for this food that's been provided and for all the work that went into providing this event tonight. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
And I need you so much. See you, breathe you, I want to be you. Ah, la la la, ah, la la la. You can take time to live the way you gotta live your life. Give me all of you. Don't be scared, I'll see you through the lonely nights. I want it more. Don't even think about what's right or wrong or right. 'Cause in the end, it's only you and me, and no one else is gonna be around to answer all the questions left behind. And you and I are meant to be. So even if the world falls down today, you still got me to hold you up. And I will never let you down. I feel so untouched and I want you so much that I just can't resist you. It's not enough to say that I miss you. I feel so untouched right now.
serious note, PRS and the BGO rehab team is very, very honored and beyond honored to be here tonight, to be the keynote sponsor of just an amazing event that celebrates young men and women throughout this region. And I want to acknowledge our rehab team that includes, and their guests and spouses, that include athletic trainers, occupational therapists, physical therapists, and the administrative team that supports that. If you're here, would you just stand real fast if you're here, part of the rehab team? Let's acknowledge them, please. I'm in a very unique position to have the opportunity to work throughout the country with some of the premier orthopedic surgeons in this country. And as part of that, we have been long-term partners with BGO and their physician team and their administrative team for several years. And I want to honestly say this, we're privileged to be with the best of the best throughout the country. And without hesitation, BGO is among the top of being the best of the best. And it's several categories. It's not just that they're well-trained physicians that are very, very skillful. It's that they're passionate about what they do. And as you've already heard from two of their physicians on stage tonight, they genuinely care. They care about their patients, they care about their team members, they care about the community, and they care about our student athletes throughout this region. And I can honestly say the genuineness, the passion, the compassion is something that sometimes I don't see with great surgeons. So it's a total package. On a personal basis, they were life-changing for me. I received my second knee replacement from Dr. Christensen last year. And not that that's a big deal. Everybody and their mother does it. But for me, I had the option to go with any premier orthopedic group throughout the country, and I chose BGO because of who they are and because of their compassion and excellence. It was life-changing to be out of pain. And Dr. Christensen, I can't thank you enough for how you have helped change my life and got me on the old man tennis court once again. There are also a couple of physical therapists that really made a difference here. One was Rob Pruden, the other was Chris Bagby, and the third was Tracy McCoy. And I just can't thank them enough for how they helped mold and change my life. Even as a physical therapist, you become a patient and you become completely dependent on the care given, and we've all experienced that. I am so excited tonight to be able to introduce someone I've gotten to know over the past several days by phone and today in person. And it is the reason that a lot of you probably showed up tonight to listen to someone that is not only just a neat person and a neat spirit, but someone that's achieved one of the highest levels of professional sports achievement. And her name is Erin Wright. And Erin happens to be one of our own from Jessamine County. And you'll see probably on the third page of your program, if you'll open that up and look on the right, you'll see a bio of Erin. And I'm going to just, I'm going to touch on some of those, but I want to say without question, Erin is probably one of the best soccer players, male or female, achieving the highest level that's ever come out of the state of Kentucky. In our backyard. Let's go through just a little bit of her achievements, and this really just scratches the surface. She grew up at West Jessamine High School. She was an All-American in high school. She was voted Miss Kentucky soccer player. In 2009, she was voted Central Kentucky Soccer MVP. She was the first team All-State for 2 years. Well, where does she go to college? She goes here. Only one option, to UK. She becomes a Cat from 2011 to 2014. She becomes first team All-American, ESPN Female Athlete of the Year, SEC Defensive Player of the Year. And this is an interesting award that she just told me about today. It's called the Honda Inspiration Award. And she won that. And this award was for males and females playing D1 sports across the country. And she won this award. And she can probably tell you a lot more about it than I can, obviously. But it has to do with overcoming adversities at the highest level and returning to the highest level, just like what this program is about tonight for some of you. And a couple of those adversities were tearing an ACL her freshman year, I think in an SEC match against Tennessee, I think, Aaron, wasn't it? And where are you, Aaron? There you are, okay. And then she went on to score 30 goals, 25 assists, and set the record of 8 game-winning goals. But the award that she'll talk about tonight that she was probably most proud of at UK was the Blue Heart Award for UK. And it included everyone, and it truly is the Heart Award, the Soul Award, the person that Erin is. And it's not only reflected at a college level, it continues at a pro level. So what happens? We look up, and she's the first female ever in the state of Kentucky to be drafted to the pro soccer level. She's first round, 8th pick for the Chicago Red Stars. What does she do there? Well, as a rookie, she played 19 games and started in 17. And I guess this is big in soccer, counting the minutes, but she had 1,533 minutes and 2 assists her freshman year. I won't say her freshman year, her rookie year at a pro level. Then all of a sudden in 2016, she's nominated for the Best Defender of the Year award and is named in the National Women's Soccer League as the best 11 team, the best 11 players within the pro organization. She was so good that it's kind of vernacular. She was loaned out to the Australian Newcastle Jets from 2016 to 2019. And even though Erin said that league is probably not up to maybe some of the high standards that the American League is, they only accepted 4 people, and it was a true honor to be asked to be on the team. She played a total of 10,000 minutes, which I calculated is 166 hours or 7 full days of playing in the pro level, and apparently very few people make that achievement. One of the things that Erin is most proud of, not unlike the award that she won at UK, was she won the Iron Women of Character Award. And it's really for the players, the players vote, the staff votes, and the fans vote. And it's who has the best heart and the best spirit. And she's very, very proud of that. We're going to wrap this pretty quickly. But when I asked Erin what really makes her tick and what influenced her, she said there were 3 coaches that gave her a love and passion for the game. Not criticizing her, not belittling her, not worrying about their wins and losses, but truly instilling a passion of the game. Jimmy Rue was one of these. Kevin Wright was one of these. And Michelle Rayner was one of these. And Michelle also coached her not only in high school, but also, I think, assistant coach at UK. Is that correct, Aaron? Is Michelle here tonight? Where is Michelle? Michelle, I want you to stand because I want to see someone that instills this kind of love and passion for the game. And I'm sure you've done that in hundreds and hundreds of young women, and probably a lot of guys too. So thank you for being the coach that you are. And finally, to wrap this up, I called Mitch Barnhart in his office and got someone that spoke for Mitch today, and said that Erin defines the student athlete. And is just such a woman of character, and was one of the finest ambassadors and leaders that UK has ever had in their sports department. So without any further delay, I'd like to welcome Erin Wright.
All right, hi guys. Tom, that was very good. I don't know how I'm gonna follow that. But I wanted to, first let me get my speech out. I wanted to thank you guys for having me here, Andrew for bringing me out. There was no doubt that I was gonna be attending this event. So before I start, I kind of wrote this up. It's thick, because how do you go through 29 years of life and summarize it all for you guys and everything that I've been through? So I tried to memorize it. That didn't go well because I cried every time, and then through the tears, I couldn't find my place. So I'm gonna kind of read through it. I'll make sure I stop and look up at you guys, but it's the best way, trust me, for everyone, if I read through this. So without further ado, I wanna start off by thanking Andrew Carlson for inviting me to come be a part of this special evening. When Andrew first reached out to me in 2019, which I know is forever ago, but COVID happened, so here we are in 2022, to attend the BGO as the keynote speaker, he started off by explaining to me what the event was all about. Little did he know, while he was telling me, I also had to quickly look up what a keynote was. Because if you know me, there's two things I hate to admit: when I don't know something and admitting I'm wrong. So, spoiler alert, this is my first keynote speaking event, so bear with me. As it would, it would be unfair to not mention that it also brought me more joy than I can tell all of you to call my best friend Emma's husband to let him know that I would be speaking at his work event. Lee has had the great pleasure of knowing me longer than he's probably ever wanted to. But I carry zero responsibility for that because, I mean, he did choose to date and then marry my best friend. So naturally, there was no one who carried more beef or banter with Lee out of Emma's friends than me. So here we are almost 12 years later, and he's probably thinking he's escaped me since now I've lived in Chicago for 8.5 years and only come into town with fair warning. But plot twist, I'm still showing up, but now in your work life. And the icing on the cake is that I'm in a situation where you can't have any banter back. But back to my speech. Once I had established what the task at hand was that I was being asked to do, it was probably only 2 to 3 sentences in to the explanation until my mind was made up that I undoubtedly wanted to attend this event. I wanted to be in attendance not just to share my story, but to hear the stories of my fellow Kentuckians who have so resiliently dealt with adversity in their life and have themselves begun to write a story of their own. Awards like the ones given out tonight are the awards that I find the most fascinating. To be so young and to go through hardship and adversity is no easy feat. To be able to have the wisdom, courage, bravery, and determination to navigate obstacles thrown at you at such a young age, and then come out on the other side stronger, is so telling of the incredible person you're sure to become. This event is exactly the type of event I hold near and dear to my heart. I firmly believe in all of life, what makes us who we are the parts of life that are the hardest to get through. Over my career, I've received quite a few awards, which, Tom, you hit all of them, a lot of them. I don't say that to draw attention to it, rather to show that at times these athletic achievements start to blur together. To me, there were only so many athletic awards one can receive until they start to feel the same. I remember feeling like I could only recognize myself as the soccer player and that my athletic ability was my only identity. However, there have been 3 awards that have held a lot of weight for me. The ESPN Honda Inspiration Award, the Blue Heart Award that I received during my time at the University of Kentucky, and the Iron Woman of Character Award that I received with Chicago Red Stars. These awards all hold a special place in my heart because they celebrated all that is me and not just one aspect of me. They speak to who I am as a person and not just an athlete. I tell you all this because this Night of Champions is exactly the type of event you will look back on and be so proud of as your career progresses. It celebrates athletes for not just your athletic accomplishments on the field. Rather, this award is based around one's character and ability to persevere and juggle all the elements that life is. These awards encompass all that you are and celebrate you as a person in your entirety. So to all of you in the crowd receiving an award tonight, I want to congratulate you, not just on your athletic triumphs, but on the incredible people you have become and will continue to become. As I began to draft up the speech about my journey to professional soccer and motherhood, I wasn't sure what direction I wanted to go. Then I remembered a pregame speech we had recently in our locker room. To give a brief summary, it was about what it takes to play at the most elite level. The sacrifices you must make, knowingly or unknowingly, the connections you must build, the countless hours you must put in, and the persistence and consistency to do it again and again and again. Then, regardless of the outcome, win, lose, injury, never settling in complacency. Rather, striving for what you might think be unattainable. It is when you are outside of your comfort zone that true growth happens. I was born and raised right here in the beautiful Bluegrass State, which I am always so proud to call my home. My family consisted of my mom, Latita, my father, Bruce, and my little brother, Sailor. Also in the crowd tonight is my grandparents, my aunt, my husband, and my son, and my brother's girlfriend. I'm so thankful for the upbringing I was afforded. Being able to watch 2 driven, ambitious, self-employed business owners navigate life for themselves and me was beyond admirable. Unknowingly, they taught me how to work for what I wanted in life. My mom worked 8 to 8 every day, cutting hair in her salon, and I felt as if the only time my dad wasn't working a job painting was when he was rushing me around to all my sports, camps, and events that my mother signed me up for. And trust me, she signed me up for everything. Horse riding camp, all sports camp, 4-H camp, Girl Scouts, and about 5 soccer camps a summer. Literally anything that had a form, you could have counted on me to be there. So to explain my pathway to becoming a professional athlete, there's one thing you must know. I'm beyond competitive, like very competitive. Which quite literally started as a baby. My father and uncle used to host what they would call the Baby Olympics, which consisted of me and my cousin Blake, when we weren't even 1, in a competition called See Whose Baby Can Hold On to the Clothesline Longer. Safe? Probably not. But to say the least, but it is safe to say the competitive spirit was instilled in me from that moment on. Growing up, I played about every sport offered. I was always the one girl at recess or in co-ed sports I was always trying extra hard to beat the boys in whatever it was that we were doing. Whether it be sprints, push-ups, arm wrestling, quite literally, I was up for any challenge and wanted to prove that at such a young age I could keep up with anyone. I continued that by playing on an all-boys soccer team until I was 10 years old. It was that same year that the coaches had to have a convo with my parents about switching over to the girls' U10 LFC team. Let it be known, though, I believe to this day the only reason I had to switch was because the coach of the U10 boys team I was trying out for had a son on the team, and I definitely beat him in a 1v1 right in front of him. I don't think that sat well with him at the time. All jokes aside, this move was a blessing in disguise. Not only was my club team changing, but in 6th grade, I switched schools as well and started attending West Chestnut Middle. After my first year there were complaints about me being on the soccer team from parents from other schools, claiming I didn't live in the area, so I shouldn't be allowed to play in that school district and play for that team. For the record, we did own a house in the district. We rented it to someone. Some might say a loophole. I say genius. So after that year, my mom and dad made a huge life change. because the success they wanted for me, or made a huge life change because of the success they wanted for me in my soccer career and education. They sold my childhood home, which was also their dream home they built for our family when I was a baby. That alone was one of the most selfless acts anyone has ever done for me, and it took until adulthood for me to realize what they had given up for me. For the next 6 years, I played on my LFC team, U10 to U16. I played travel softball until I was 12, played about every sport imaginable in high school: tennis, softball, basketball, track, cross country. Then at 16, my club team folded due to the lack of girls playing soccer in the Lexington area. So much so, we couldn't make a full team with my club. I was forced to move clubs and play for Ohio Elite for my last 2 club years. So yes, my dad drove an hour and a half both ways, 2 to 3 times a week for 2 years just for practice. Although when they said bring your shovels to training because we have to shovel the field due to snow, I somehow conveniently didn't make those trainings. It was roughly 7th grade when I started getting noticed in the soccer community outside of Kentucky and made my first Region 2 ODP team. From there, I began traveling overseas to multiple different countries to play soccer. It was about this time that I myself recognized, hey, I'm not so bad at this soccer thing, I guess. My competitiveness that had blossomed from playing against boys my whole life had now transitioned to competitiveness that was built around trying to be the first female Kentucky soccer player to make a name for themselves in the sport. To prove to the world that Kentucky breeds soccer talent just like any other state, and to take myself to the highest level attainable. I felt being from Kentucky, people always wrote me off when it came to soccer. Little did they know they were only igniting my fire. Seemingly, by age 16, I was super thrilled with how life was going. I had a great group of friends, enjoyed my high school and club soccer teams. I was hitting the soccer milestones I was striving for, such as making the Region 2 team consistently, going into U18 national team camps consistently, basically reaching the highest point you could at this point in your career. Then my whole life was changed with a doctor's appointment. My mom was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer and given 6 months to live. At age 16, I wasn't sure how to comprehend this knowledge. The array of emotions I felt consumed me. And on top of that, I wasn't exactly the best person at expressing how I felt. I very much internalized everything. So the emotion that guided me was anger. The whole trajectory of my career and college choices changed from this diagnosis. No longer did I long to play in a new state and environment. Rather, I had the motivation to stay close to home so my mom could watch me play for the time she had left. I even pushed harder in the classroom to make sure that I had enough credits to graduate high school early to afford my mom the opportunity to watch me play in college, which was her dream. She was the one who believed in me most and pushed me to fight and strive for what she knew I was capable of. There's only one person on this planet more stubborn than me, and that's my mom. And as the 6-month time frame given by the doctors came and went, my mom continued to work and go through everyday life as if nothing had changed. It gave me hope. Her strength to not let her day to day be affected and keep me in the dark about this process and how she felt made me feel as if this diagnosis was in a way not correct. That surely these doctors had got something wrong, because in my eyes, not one thing about my mom and her health or her routine had changed. But that was just who she was. She was all things that I can only hope to become half of. She was strong-willed, stubborn, driven, ambitious, courageous, generous, thoughtful, helpful, kind. She always put others before herself, and there was never a detail she missed. She was the person that everyone looked to and everyone wanted in their life because she radiated positivity, and she was always so full of life. Her smile was one that could light up a room of complete strangers, like the one here tonight. And she was always the most selfless person I knew. As I completed high school and moved on to the next stage of my life at the University of Kentucky to play college soccer, I was overwhelmed with emotion to get to finally put on that jersey and get to play in front of my mom, fulfilling the dream she always knew I was capable of. That moment was special, but also scary. It was at that game that I first noted the physical changes in my mom. The toll that the 8-to-8 job that she had continued to still work was taking on her, as well as the chemo. It was then that it started to get real for me what was happening. but as a typical 18-year-old freshman in college, I let myself get consumed in the chaos that was college. I found myself visiting home less frequently as my days were monopolized with tutors, practice, lifting, travel, and everything else that came with being a student athlete. My freshman year, soccer-wise, was going far better than I could have ever imagined. I was making an impact with the team, receiving lots of praise and awards, and consistently getting called in with the U20 women's national team. So much so I had basically solidified my position on this team and was preparing for the upcoming U20 World Cup. Then yet again, my life was thrown another curveball. In October 2011, in the SEC tournament, I suffered a right ACL and partial medial meniscus tear. I was devastated and had no idea what that meant for the future of my soccer career. The next 3 months were some of the hardest months of my life. With a season-ending injury, my everyday life as I knew it was changed instantly. There would be no more lifts, no more travel for college or for national team, and no more World Cup. How could I even be me or have my identity without soccer? With all the travel of my college and national team and being immersed in my studies, it meant less frequent time at home, which led to being more and more shocked by the state of my mom when I did. Now, after surgery, I was back at home recovering in twin beds side by side with my mom as my father cared for us both. That first month I will never forget. All the changes in my mom's health that she tried to hide from me while I was away at college were now right in front of my face and undeniable. The task my dad was facing was more than a full-time job, and not just a physical one, but an emotional and mental one as well. He was caring for not one, not two, but 3 people. His wife, his daughter, and his 10-year-old son. All of who were fully dependent on him right now. If it wasn't me crying out for pain medication, it was my mom. And if it wasn't pain medication every few hours, it would be the game ready that had ran out of ice. And if it wasn't the ice, it was me needing help to the bathroom or to the shower. And if it wasn't that, it was to comfort my mom from the pain in the middle of the night. What my dad did for his family in the first month is one of the most selfless acts in portrayal of what it truly means to love something. I apologize. How had we gotten here? My life that I had thought was going so well was coming apart at the seams. To witness the woman who was always so strong and never wavered be so vulnerable and weak and so helpless is a feeling that will never get easier. She was the rock, the glue, the foundation of what made our family whole. In that month I spent at home, it was the first time I had seen my mother show the pain that she had been hiding from me all this time. Fast forward to PT, which in all honesty went so much smoother than I could have ever imagined. So much so that I was back to fully training at 6 months and playing in games by 9 months. But let me tell you, a huge appreciation goes out to the physical therapist, John Jurgens. He saw me at my absolute worst and honestly was yelled and cursed at far too many times by me in those first few weeks out of pure pain and frustration. To go from being one of the most elite levels in the game and not being able to walk or bend your knee is a mental obstacle that isn't talked about enough. Navigating that journey is one that not only made me a better person, but a better teammate because of this new role I was filling during my rehab. With all the ups and downs and countless hours of PT was, I'm so lucky I've finally been afforded the opportunity with this speech to first apologize to John. I'm not sure if he's here tonight, but I apologize. And second, to thank him for his patience and working with me when I myself probably wouldn't have. A little over halfway through my rehab, when it just seemed like I was seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, I got a call away in my dorm room with my best friend Emma from my aunt, telling me it was probably best to come home. I could tell from the tone in her voice it wasn't good, and in that moment, I went numb. Unsure what to feel or expect. Most of all, I felt a bit angry. I felt left in the dark. I remember feeling frustrated and wondering why my mom hadn't told me it was this bad. Why hadn't she told me when her chemo appointments were? And why didn't I know any of this? I felt tremendous guilt. I was consumed by it. I spent the next 2 weeks on a blow-up air mattress next to my mom on the couch, watching life slowly slip from her. From no longer being able to walk, then not being able to communicate, or even eat or drink. It is something I will never be able to erase from my mind. I wanted so much to take all the pain from her and just let her be at peace. We hadn't left the house in 2 weeks, scared to leave her side because we wanted to be there with her until the end. Then on that 2-week mark, on April 16th, 2012, we decided we would get some fresh air and take a short drive to Starbucks and come right back. At the same time, my father left the house to do something in the garage. And in that moment, with the house silent and no one around, my mom finally made her way to heaven in the most Latita fashion possible, in a way that not a single person had to carry the burden of being there to watch her take her last breaths. She was undoubtedly the most strong-willed, stubborn, and selfless person I have ever known, and I am lucky enough to call her my mother. That last act of selflessness was the ultimate testament to the person she was at her core, and possibly a tad bit of her stubborn, I'm gonna do it my way Latita attitude. As I transitioned back to the soccer world, it was difficult to navigate. Constantly feeling like people felt sorry for me and that they were walking on eggshells was one of the more difficult things to process. This was because more than anything, I wanted to be me again and have normalcy in a life that now didn't feel normal. The guilt I had felt from being absent had transitioned to anger. In my eyes and mind, I had convinced myself that my focus on soccer, school, and friends was what blinded me from seeing and processing the state of my mother's health. All those overseas trips with soccer that I had taken, all those times I had said no to coming home for dinner because I was tired from training and had running and lifting at 6 a.m., all those times I was away was all time I would never get back. I was angry for what I felt soccer and the responsibilities it came with had taken from me. Does anyone have a tissue? Let me pass that up here. Appreciate it. Then I remembered how much joy my success in soccer brought my mother, how proud of me she was, and all the dreams she knew I was shooting for when she passed away. I couldn't let the last thought she had about my future not become a reality. I owed that to her and myself. It was the first season returning after tearing my ACL and my mom passing away that I had more purpose than ever before and more to prove than ever before. I went on to finish out a successful soccer career at the University of Kentucky, becoming the most decorated female soccer player in UK history, as well as the first ever female Kentucky player to play professionally in the NWSL. Being drafted as the number 8 pick in the first round of the 2015 draft for the Chicago Red Stars. From the moment I got to the Red Stars, it would have been easy to be complacent in where I had made it to, but the competitive person I was didn't let that happen. I fought for a starting spot from the moment I arrived and have now been the starting left back for 8.5 years and one of the most tenured players on the team. It was probably my 3rd year in that I realized that with the title of professional athlete comes great responsibility. To not only perform and be the most elite athlete possible, but to also be the presence and resource for the future of the sport. To leave it better than when I arrived. To use my platform to help others and bring awareness to what I'm passionate about. Being complacent in just my title professional athlete would be such a disservice to all the work and time I had put in on the field and all the hardships I had persevered through over the years to get where I am today. After my 6th year of being established in the league, I decided I was ready to hit the next milestone in my life, which was starting a family with my husband, Evan. This decision was scary because at the same time, I wasn't ready to let go of soccer. But as I sat in that thought, why was the narrative that you had to retire, then have a family? Why couldn't I do both? So, In the same strong-willed, determined, and stubborn fashion I learned from my mother, I decided to be the start of breaking that mold, showing the women's professional athlete world that you don't have to sacrifice career for family, or vice versa. Quite literally, you can have your cake and eat it too. On April 20, 2020, I was blessed with my son, Grady Wright, who made me realize just why my mother was so selfless. From the moment he entered the world, I would give up anything for him. I would be the rock and the glue for him. And hopefully, by chasing my dreams, I could inspire him to do the same in his life. Coming back from my pregnancy, which ended in an emergency cesarean, yet again, another major surgery, was no easy feat to return to play. But like any speed bump thrown at me in my 29 years of life, I viewed this as yet another challenge. To prove to myself that I could get back to where I was, to not settle in complacency, but to strive for more than I was before. This was fuel to my fire, the same fire that lives inside all exceptional athletes. We as athletes are always ready for the expected or unexpected fuel that might ignite it. I leave you with this. Don't be complacent in what you have achieved. Rather, can you strive for what's next? Can you make real change in the world we live in and in other people along your journey? Like the awards given out tonight, the most gratifying thing is not being recognized for athletic accomplishments, but being recognized for the exceptional, selfless, and determined humans you have become from the fire ignited inside of you during your sports journey and in life. Each and every one of your journeys here tonight are unique and beautiful. And even better than that, there are still so many unwritten and empty pages for all of you to fill. Thank you, guys.
Like diamonds on the floor, and her diamonds bring me down, 'cause I can't help her now. She's down in it, she tried her best and now she can't win. It's hard to see them on the ground.
You guys don't want that.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Milam, the late MC. TV waits for no man or woman. I'm the sports director at WKYT, and starting in January will be my 25th year in TV, and I have told Andrew this several times privately. I will say it again publicly. This tonight is one of my favorite nights of the year from a professional standpoint, but also a personal standpoint because of the stories we tell. For a moment, I get to be a part of your family. I usually say at the beginning, we're going to laugh and we're going to cry. We're going to hug, and hopefully by the time you leave here, you feel something maybe you didn't feel when you walked in. And every year, I talk about the kids because this is about them. Night of Champions. Everybody in here is a champion, one degree or another. You may have a Santa Claus-sized list of championships and trophies, or you may have overcome a litany of injuries or life obstacles. And I'm sitting there thinking, when listening to Aaron, movie quotes. I'm a crazy movie quote guy, and I was thinking of the movie Dead Poets Society when it says "Carpe diem, seize the day," and then it reminded me of another quote in there when they're talking about what will your verse be, and it says that you are here, that life exists, identity. That the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. What will your verse be? And for tonight, for the kids that are here, and for the adults and the moms and dads and aunts, uncles, grandma, grandpa, you've contributed a verse to the champions who are here tonight. So we are going to get into the champions who are seated here with their awards and their rounds of applause. And we will begin with the BGO Achievement Awards. The awards go to student athletes at the high school level who have distinguished themselves in the classroom, community, playing fields, and have been high achievers in every aspect of life. And there are a lot of aspects of life, are there not? The award winners will receive a $500 scholarship, a crystal plaque, also a gift from our friends at Game One. And we will begin with our first recipient. And Andrew will play Vanna White over here. And that is Sarah Bailey of South Laurel High School, the daughter of Bobby and Penny Bailey. Sarah, a cheerleader at South Laurel, holds a 3.9 GPA. In 2016, Sarah's squad placed fourth in the UCA National Cheer Competition. While COVID may have impacted the amount of service projects our youth could participate in, Sarah was part of the distinguished young women's service organization called Laurelettes. Although unable to enter nursing homes, she helped find creative ways to show them love and care during the pandemic. Sarah's counselors shared the following: she goes above and beyond to serve others and always does so with a smile. She is viewed by both faculty and students alike as a leader who is humble, kind to all, and driven. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Bailey of South Laurel High School. Our next recipient is Ashley Bigelow of Boyle County High School, a swimmer and an archer. Ashley joins the evening ranked 6th in her graduating class at Boyle County High School, able to balance her academic studies, a job, and her daily practices. Ashley has often had to practice her dives at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. That's just, I'm trying to get to bed at 9 p.m. A member of the National Honor Society, Ashley has also logged more than 200 hours of community service during her high school career. Her swim coach, Jeremy Ellis, had this to say about Ashley. Quote, "I am thankful I have the opportunity to coach Ashley. She's been a key contributor to the team, and she's managed to succeed as a swimmer while also maintaining excellent grades, working a part-time job, volunteering her time to causes that are important to her." Ashley Bigelow of Boyle County High School. Catherine Boshiers of Bourbon County High School, the daughter of Amy and Chris. Catherine is a Bourbon County cross-country and track and field student athlete, also ranking 6th in her graduating class, a member of the National Honor Society Beta Club, and also touts a 30 ACT score. I can't spell ACT. She's been acknowledged 6 times as KHSAA Academic All-State First Team, member of the 2021 Class 2A 4x800 meter state champion relay team. During her free time, volunteers on the leadership squad at her church. Her youth group has gone on to several mission trips. Bourbon County's athletic director, Wendy Mahana, had this to say about Katie. She's quiet but highly competitive young lady, has trained very hard to be a top performer both on and off the field and in and out of the classroom. She's a diligent student, maintain a very rigorous academic schedule. Catherine Boshiers of Bourbon County High School. We stay in Bourbon County for Sadie Darbrow. Sadie, Bourbon County swimmer and lacrosse player, 4.0 GPA, ranked number 1 in her graduating class, member of the National Honor Society Beta Club, also a Governor's Scholar, has been awarded the KHSAA Academic All-State First Team each year of high school. Senior class president, been integral in updating district policies, helped her fellow classmates. Wendy Mahana had this to say about Sadie: a compassionate young lady, very interested in learning about different people, empathizing with them. She's participated in many leadership activities to help her school and community, and has been a leader both on her athletic teams and in the school. Sadie Darbrow of Bourbon County. Campbell Gash of Dunbar, the daughter of Dave and Louise. Campbell is a senior volleyball player at Dunbar, served as the captain the last 2 seasons. Off the court, has been involved with Jesus Prom as well as Southland's meal packing and backpack programs. She has helped raise more than $20,000 during Cancer Classic matches at Dunbar and helps with Dance Blue. Billy Noble, the PE teacher at Rosa Parks, where Campbell worked through EBCE, had this to share. Campbell's a very special person that made our school a better place while she was here. It was amazing to see how someone could show so much love to students and truly care about helping them be successful. Very nice. Campbell Gash of Dunbar. We stay in Lexington for Catherine Graves of Sayre. Yeah, ranked 5th in the graduating class at Sayre. Catherine, or Cat, four-sport student athlete, balancing an academic load as well as soccer, cross country, basketball, and track. Captain for numerous teams, she's received all city, district, region athletic honors throughout her career. Randy Mills, director of college counseling, states that Kat is among the most outstanding female student athletes to attend Sayre in the past 2 decades. He shares Kat's impact is far-reaching in our school. She epitomizes all of the qualities we seek in our most outstanding student athletes, competes with passion, yet in the first to lend a helping hand to an opponent. A true class act. Catherine Graves of Sayre. We step outside and travel down the highway a little bit for this one of my favorite places to go to, and I'll tell you why in just a little bit. Mia Hale of Estill County. We go to Irvin, where the Engineers are rolling down the track. Volleyball and basketball player at Estill County High School. 3.9 GPA, 7th in her graduating class. Member of the 2,000-point club. Put the ball in the hole. That a girl. Mia has earned all district, all region honors off the court, class vice president, involved in the Beta Club, student council, sources of strength. She's been awarded the University of Louisville Provost Scholarship and has been accepted in U of L's honors program. Coach Ruth Hughes had this to say about Mia. It's been an honor and a privilege to coach her since 4th grade. Has excelled on the court, in the classroom, and in the community. Has been a role model to classmates and teammates, every aspect of her life. If I had a daughter, I would want them to be like Mia. Mia Hale, Estill County. Estill County trying to grab all of the awards tonight. Gabe Hall, dual sport athlete. Gabe plays football, baseball at Estill County, holds a 3.8 GPA, ranked 12th in his class, voted lineman of the year. And I know who you play for, and I covered him in high school a long time ago. Voted lineman of the year, first team all district, involved with Beta Club, student council, TSA, archery, and coaches Little League basketball on the weekends. Attaboy. Gabe's athletic trainer, Kirsten West, shares, Gabe is a phenomenal young man. He goes above and beyond for his coaches, teammates, classmates, friends, and administrative staff. Very gracious and respectful to every person he comes in contact with. Gabe Hall of Estill County High School. Don't forget the money. Matthew Johns of Madison Central is a baseball player for the Indians, ranks in the top 8% of his class, holds a 3.98 GPA, been on the KHSAA All-State Academic Team 4 straight years and part of the National Honor Society. He volunteers during the Ellis 5K in Richmond, community cleanups, as well as a nursery at his church. Coach Steve Roof shares this about Matthew, quote, Matthew has challenged himself with honors, AP, dual credit, college courses during his high school career and has excelled in each. Teachers have only positive things to say about Matt and his classroom participation and work ethic. He encompasses what a student athlete should strive to be, a leader, academically successful, and involved in other areas within the school to support other students. Matthew Johns of Madison Central High School. We will stay in Richmond with Jeffrey Kinley of Madison Central, three-sport athlete at Central. Jeffrey has excelled in athletics and in the classroom, team captain of wrestling, football, track and field, holds a 3.8 GPA, currently serves as a senior class vice president, has been awarded the KHSAA Academic All-State First Team all 4 years, member of the National Honor Society, part of the 4x400, 4x200 relay teams to win a regional championship, and has been a four-time KHSAA state championship place winner in wrestling. He's done all of this while maintaining a job at a local barbecue restaurant. Attaboy, need some of that. Miss Elizabeth Wilson, social studies teacher at Central, shares the following. Jeffrey's an extremely motivated young man. He is conscientious about everything, dedicates himself to his academic, school, and his community, consistently works cooperatively with others, maintaining confidence, poise, self-control, and respect. Jeffrey Kinley of Madison Central High School. One of the best names of the night. Man, Paris is trying to rally around this thing. We go back to Bourbon County for Charisma Massey. Great name. The daughter of Misty and James Massey of Paris, Charisma is a Bourbon County archer and tennis player ranked 10th in her graduating class. Member of the National Honor Society, Spanish Honor Society, Beta Club, KHSAA Academic All-State First Team, and is committed to play tennis at Thomas More University. Outside of school, she is strongly involved with her church, where she has fed the homeless, visited other states and helped in less fortunate areas, taught vacation Bible school, and collaborated with other church youth groups. She's been a camp counselor at 4A and worked with the Youth Baseball League. Thank you. Athletic Director Wendy Mahana, she's been busy tonight too. Charisma is a phenomenal student and great ambassador for our athletic program, true passion for working with kids, and wants to be an early childhood educator. Charisma Massey of Bourbon County High School. Brianna Penny. Where's it, Brianna? Brianna, thank you. Hey, with a name like Brian, I should know this, right? Brianna Penny of Scott County is a basketball track athlete at Scott County, ranked first in her graduating class, member of the National Honor Society, the Toyota Classic All-Academic Team. Her teachers say of this, Brianna, she cares so deeply about her community, continually reminding with her endless kindness and compassion. She gives 110% in anything she does and continuously strives to serve others. Although I am a teacher and Brianna the student, I strive to one day have a heart as compassionate and caring as hers. Trish Pristup said that about Brianna Penny of Scott County. Morgan Reynolds of Woodford County High School, ranked 5th in her graduating class over in Versailles. Morgan is a dual sport athlete participating in cross country and cheer. Morgan, a member of the UCA All-American cheer team, as well as the KHSAA State Game Day Championship team, member of the varsity cross country squad for 4 years, and was part of the KHSAA Regional Cross Country Championship team for 2. Outside of sports, Morgan, vice president of the Beta and HOSA, active in Pep Club, FCCLA, National Honor Society, very involved in community activities such as S'mores with Santa. Doesn't that sound good? Church clothing drives and ends as much mission days. Tasha Richardson, her cheer coach, had this to share about Morgan. Great human being. She's a silent leader who leads by example and every coach's dream. A gift. She has a gift for expressing empathy and making her peers feel empowered, perhaps two of the most underrated values in our world. Morgan Reynolds of Woodford County. South Laurel High School's Gracie Turner, 3-sport athlete participating in soccer, basketball, track and field, 4.0 GPA, taking the highest level classes provided at South Laurel, placed first in the Future Farmers of America Quiz Bowl and her agricultural sales team. Coach Chris Souter shares this: Gracie is a tireless worker in each avenue she chooses, whether it be in sports, academics, or her heavy involvement in our community. This young lady has made larger strides in the past 4 years than anyone else in our program. She is such a good role model to our younger players and is one of the most important players on our team. Gracie has positioned herself to graduate early to pursue her dreams of becoming a vet. 2/3 of the way through and 3/4, and I pull it on the veterinarian. There we go. But unselfishly, she chooses to return her senior year because of all of the unique qualities this young lady brings to our team. Gracie Turner, I'm glad you will be a vet. And last but not least, Rocky Whitehead of Madison Southern High School, a 3.9 GPA, two-sport athlete. Rocky Whitehead of Southern participated in football and wrestling, a two-time all-region football member and 3-time state medalist in wrestling. Don't mess with the guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Rocky Whitehead of Madison Southern High School. Let's congratulate all of our award winners this evening. I mentioned earlier tonight, we are here for champions, those here and those not. We celebrate champions who are present and those who are not. The next award is very special. All of these are, but there has to be a champion of the champions. The next award we will be presenting this evening is the BGO Champions Award. This award is unique as it honors student athletes at the highest level with a $2,500 scholarship. And as I mentioned earlier, I get a chance to be involved with the family for just a minute. Kurt and Missy are over here, and Stephanie is over here with Connor, and Keaton is our female champion. And I'm going to talk about her a little bit because if I had all of her awards, man, we'd be out in the parking lot trying to, the list would run out the door. And she's just an amazing young lady. But Keaton Hall of Model is our female champion, the daughter of Kurt and Missy of Richmond, and a multi-sport athlete participating in everything, and I mean everything. Basketball, soccer, track and field, swimming. She said she would have played volleyball. They don't have volleyball at Model. She did softball. She did, well, you'll see here in a minute on the video, but she is a wonderful champion. And earlier, was it last week, I guess, I got to visit with her, and she is, like so many, the epitome of what a champion is. And this is her story, Miss Keaton Hall of Model.
Champions are never born, but made, and many times self-made and self-motivated. There are also moments when you see a natural who is blessed with God-given abilities and they make athletic achievements look effortless. So it was, and so it is, with Keaton Hall.
She's completely self-motivated. We've never had to tell her to go practice if she wants to be better.
Growing up, it was all about gymnastics, and at the age of 9, Keaton had the Kentucky USA Gymnastics All-Around State Championship under her belt, and then was a repeat winner.
Started out in gymnastics at like the age of maybe 2. I was doing little classes and they asked me to be on the team. Did that for 8 or 9 years. It was like my life. I got really strong and like a pretty athletic build from gymnastics. So after a few injuries and mental blocks, I started basketball. basketball.
I was thrilled when she was like, Mom, I think I want to try out. I'm like, okay.
Keaton mentioned injuries, and, well, she has had her share.
Over 10 ankle sprains, a few knee injuries, one pretty recent. Borderline MCL meniscus tear, broken fingers, broken nose. Concussion was a major one for sure. Too many to count, seriously.
Injuries would mount, but Keaton was tough, and she came by it honestly with some family encouragement.
We're kind of the tough love parent, you know. At first it's, oh, suck it up, you'll be fine, you know. But, you know, you always worry about them, you know, are they okay? And then how's that going to affect them moving forward? Mentally, does that have an issue or, you know, leave a problem? But, you know, you just hope that they're okay and that they're able to keep doing what they like.
The daily struggles with increased knee pain eventually caused her to walk away from gymnastics.
I don't think a lot of adults probably would believe like an 11-year-old girl telling them that their medical experience isn't right, but I knew what felt right and what felt wrong. And, you know, like I said, in gymnastics, you're taught to push through it, and this was something that didn't feel like I could just shake it off.
You tell the doctor what's wrong. You tell them how you feel. So that day when the doctor kind of suggested to her that maybe it was just another ankle sprain, I'll never forget, she kind of like got this look that, you know, being her mom, I know there's something brewing in there. She looked at him and she kind of balled her fist together and she said, it is not an ankle sprain. I have been a gymnast and I know what an ankle sprain is, and this is not an ankle sprain.
Keaton was right. The ankle injury was a real problem, and it forced her to stop everything. Surgery was required.
Me and her mom, we even questioned, should we have done the surgery? Because it was an elective surgery, but she loved sports so much that we thought it was worth the shot, because she would not have been able to play sports if we hadn't had that surgery. So it was an elective surgery, but, you know, months, maybe even a year or so afterwards, we're still having the pain, the swelling, and it seems like we had more problems with her, you know, muscle atrophy. Now her muscle imbalances are starting in her hips. So we're not only dealing with this, now we're dealing with 3 or 4 other things. We started questioning our decision, like maybe we shouldn't have ever ended up done this.
There was another form of exercise, and it came in the swimming pool. In 2016, Keaton decided to swim for exercise to help rebuild her muscles. Well, she eventually joined the team at Model and placed 3rd in regional competition.
Swimming was kind of the reset for us. It was the reset for her. Everything really up to that point had been very difficult. Nothing had really worked in terms of the progression that we're told that was going to happen.
But swimming played a huge part in her comeback to basketball the next season because it corrected some of those imbalances in her hips.
But it was basketball which lit the fire of competition. Despite the previous injuries and a concussion which forced more missed time on the court, Keaton would explode when she had the chance.
Probably her freshman year, when we kind of got everything lined out from this surgery. It was the first year that she probably maybe ever competed pain-free. And then the kid just took off.
Keaton not only dazzled with her speed and her aggressive style, she improved each year. From 2 points to 9.5 points a game, 12 points to 15, and then she would average 20 points per game her senior year. Keaton would finish as Model's all-time leading scorer with more than 1,400 points and more than 500 career rebounds.
I have not even come close to playing every high school game that I was supposed to play because of all the injuries, whether it was my surgical injury or, you know, an ankle sprain. It didn't matter. But it definitely makes it a lot nicer.
It didn't matter whatever sport she's going to work, she's going to outwork you. And, you know, it's just been a pleasure to sit back and watch that, because we hope as parents that's indicative of what she's going to do in life.
It is very difficult. As Keaton said, she had sprained ankles when she was a little kid. When I was 6 years old, I didn't get hurt. I guess I was not playing the right sports. But to wrap up all of your life in 5, 6, 7 minutes, it's very difficult. How many of you have picked up a sport and just said, oh yeah, I'll go do that, and then earn a college scholarship because of it? She's highly intelligent from academic, and she is going to go to Transylvania on an academic scholarship and play basketball. Ladies and gentlemen, Keaton Hall of Model Lab School.
I think this will fit. Yeah, championship belt.
Yes, sir. Come in. I just want to touch the belt.
Okay, so I just want to thank Bluegrass Orthopedics for like this amazing scholarship. Thank you for taking the time to read my story, along with everybody else's. Everybody in here is an amazing athlete or has been a part of an amazing athlete's life, so just thank you. Yeah, thank you. I obviously want to thank God because throughout my whole life, but especially the past few years, He's been the major factor in my success. I give all the credit to Him completely. I also want to thank my mom and dad. Their support has been endless. It didn't matter if it was for sports, for school. It really did not matter. So thank you guys so much. I want to thank Dr. Tallwalker and Shriners for making my surgery it wasn't easy, but they did it successfully, and there was a chance that it wasn't going to be. So I'm thankful to them because they gave me the ability to continue doing what I loved. I also want to thank Brad Cummings and everyone at Foundation Hand and Physical Therapy because I have seen them way too many times. I probably paid for their new building. Yeah, they got me back up on my feet and, kept me doing what I loved, so thank you to them. I also want to thank my coaches, especially the three sitting right here with me tonight, Coach Lee, Coach Mike, and Coach Wells. Lee is my current high school basketball coach. Coach Mike has been my soccer coach, and Coach Wells has been a part of basketball for me. Recently AAU, but also throughout high school and middle school for a really long time. So my teammates have also been really supportive, whether I was on the court with them or on the field with them or not. Basically, I've learned a lot from this whole experience, whether it was an injury, like anything. I've learned a ton from it, and I wouldn't really change a thing about it because it's kind of made me the person and athlete I am today, and I'm sure all of you athletes in here can relate to it. But again, thank you, Bluegrass Orthopedics, for giving me this opportunity. It's an honor, so thank you so much.
That young lady has got one heck of a future. It was a joy to sit in your living room. And Dad, you're outnumbered. You got some strong-willed women in that house. I felt for you. I was like, he was telling you some of the stories. There's so much in the editing process. We spoke, and I timed it out for 58 minutes. And I have to condense it to 5 to 6 minutes, what have you. And there are so many cute little stories between Mom and Keaton, Dad and Mom, Dad and Keaton. It's just great that it's on the cutting room floor, as they say. But I know where it's at, and I laughed because he'd made a comment, hey, Keaton, you didn't do very well in your gymnastics. You weren't prepared. You didn't do this. And Mom, he goes, well, it was true. Just great stuff, great stories. Now we move on to our male recipient of this year's BGO Champion Award. And Boyle County has been a popular place tonight. I guess they call it Title Town for a reason, right? Our male recipient is Connor Padgett, son of Stephanie Padgett of Junction City, basketball player, National Honor Society member, and class vice president. But he is one of many. His identity is not defined by those, and the following story will tell you why he is our male champion.
Siblings, they always stay with us in a variety of ways, especially when you are one of three. 18 years ago, Chase, Connor, and McKenna Padgett were born, and their bond, like it should be for triplets, was unbreakable.
It was a gift every day to just watch them grow up and get to see how they grew and changed, and and it was never dull. They were always busy and into everything. What one didn't think of, the other one did.
We were always together, I don't remember a night where we weren't, sleeping in the same bed or, next to one another.
Children have talents which sometimes take a while to show, but usually there is a leader and one who takes charge.
Well, he just always had a can-do mentality, so he did things first usually, and he wasn't born first. He was actually born second, but within a couple minutes. So, but Chase had a much more laid-back personality. Connor was always just tended to be more assertive, I would say, kind of took charge, and he liked that role.
McKenna was the princess, as it should be with little girls. Big brothers play together, but certainly would include little sister as well.
And I hate to admit it, but sometimes I even caught myself playing in McKenna's, Barbie dream house. And so that's just how it was when you have a sister as well. We were always together.
Connor was a soccer player at a young age, and then basketball would follow a couple of years later, as did football. Sports were vital to these three. And then when they were 7 years old, a special day was in front of them, field day. And as we know as kids, it's a time of pure joy. The day was May 31st, 2011.
It was a regular day. I had just had my fourth child, which she was just 6 weeks old at the time. And it was the first day that I had driven with all four children. And we were getting ready for school. It was field day. And the excitement level was like through the roof because the kids were super excited about going to field day.
We were ecstatic for field day. We had a field day the previous year, and we remembered inflatables and kickball tournaments and water balloons and that sort of thing. All kids love that kind of stuff, and so we were absolutely excited.
We were driving, of course, and McKenna was in the back seat. She asked for a Kleenex.
Then a single moment would change their lives forever.
Dealing with the news your loved ones have been involved in a serious accident can be difficult. Then finding out small children were involved is almost too much to bear for some.
My husband told me to sit down and he's got some news. And I don't know.
Deb Paul and her husband Jim live across the street from Stephanie Padgett and her 4 children, 7-year-old triplets McKenna, Connor, and Chase, and their 1-month-old baby sister Madeline Oblisk, all of whom had to be extricated from this van following an early morning accident in Danville.
When the van came to rest, it was just complete silence. In that moment, really, you find that it's really just you and God.
Then around 2 o'clock, they received word one of the triplets, McKenna, had died from her injuries.
It was just one of those days that defines every day of the rest of your life. And then by the third day, you've lost a second. It's just unimaginable.
You know, something big was going on. And so I remember the conversation, you know, the first conversation where they told me that, you know, McKenna had died, and it was a rough time for, you know, my family and I.
Connor suffered all the exact injuries of Chase and McKenna, but his head injury was not quite as severe as theirs.
100% a blessing that I don't remember what happened. You know, I was very fortunate to not have seen what happened, because, you know, it would have killed me.
In the days, weeks, and months ahead, multiple surgeries and doctor visits would take place, and for a 7-year-old, it's difficult to understand, especially when the word comes, you may never walk again.
I was trying to move, but they told me that I couldn't move, like I wasn't supposed to move. And, you know, all my family members were around me, and I could tell from that moment that there was something off.
He was always so brave. He was much braver than I am, or was.
And when you're brave, and when you're a champion, you rally. And soon, sports became a saving grace in the healing process.
So sports was key. I think it was key to both my physical and mental recovery. Just having, you know, peers around me that were interested in the same thing really helped me a lot. And it also helped my mom just as much to be able to watch me do the things that I love the most.
When you live in Titletown, Kentucky, football must be played by almost every athlete at some point in their lives.
It was really hard for me to watch him put on a football helmet, and even though neurologists were telling me he's okay, he can do it, you know, he's fine, he can go and play, there's still like this part of me that is terrified that, you know, he's going to get injured or something's going to happen. He was never afraid. I never saw fear in him. When I say all heart, I mean he is dedicated. If he joins a team, he doesn't miss a practice. If he's, you know, if he tells you he's going to be there, he is committed 110%. He's that kind of player. I think that, you know, had he not suffered the injuries that he did, I don't know that he wouldn't have been a lot better, but, you know, I think it kind of set him back.
There was, you know, a level of perseverance that I would say is higher than that I have a higher level of perseverance than other people, and a drive that's, you know, a little different than most.
The joy of basketball would soon reemerge as Connor's top choice, and while never the star player, Connor Padgett became a winner and a champion by his spirit alone.
Some of the things that I've been through, and, you know, her seeing me persevere through certain things like, you know, the accident and, you know, just rough things like that has deepened our relationship for sure.
A champion isn't about always being, you know, the best at your sport, but when you are faced with adversities and you still have that desire to do great things, and you get up every day and try to be better than you were, I mean, to me, that's a champion.
It's the third year in a row that I've had to tell a story that moves you like that. But since we're family, I guess it's okay to cry together, right? Ladies and gentlemen, the 2022 BGO champion on the boys' side is Connor Padgett of Boyle County High School.
Optimism is defined as hopefulness, confidence about the future, or the successful outcome of something. I believe that showing, displaying, and exhibiting optimism works concertedly with one's ability to overcome adversity. This, along with God's guidance, is how I believe I was able to overcome my experience with adversity. I'd like to thank my mom and the rest of my family for coming tonight. They're my biggest supporters. I'd also like to thank my former teammates and coaches. I've not only developed bonds that will last a lifetime, but memories that will last forever. Finally, I'd like to thank Bluegrass Orthopedics for the opportunities that they presented to student athletes all over Kentucky. It's an honor to be a part of tonight's BGO Night of Champions. Hardships are times faced by many, but it's these same times that prepare us for future successes, accomplishments, and achievements. Thank you and congratulations to all other recipients.
I realize to a small degree how difficult it is to tell that story. But thank you publicly, I said it to you privately, but thank you for opening the door to your life to us and to Connor. You're a champion. And in a couple of weeks, he's going to graduate. And I mentioned it to you in the Zoom, but you will walk for 3. And I mentioned this, I'm stuck in my ways, and I don't apologize for it. Some are analytical or overly analytical, as I've learned. I am in the same boat, but I'm stuck in my ways. And sometimes we take artistic privilege to do some of these. And I picked music I hope fits the moment. Yours was Glory, because it's a great movie. Yours was Field of Dreams. And there is The Drive Home, which is one of the names of it. And you're home, and it has been an honor to do this yet again. And I always mention this, and I'm sure Andrews probably could recite it, but I do mention this all the time. My favorite quote, 2 quotes, but my favorite one of the Field of Dreams from the movie is Burt Lancaster. And I say this every year because there's so many young people in this room who have no clue who Burt Lancaster was. Great actor. But in the movie, he plays Moonlight Graham. Played for the New York Giants. 1 game, never got to hit. And he wanted that chance. And as you've seen in the movie, he gets that chance to fulfill a dream. But as he's talking to Kevin Costner, and he said, we don't realize the most important moments of our lives while they're happening. Back then, I thought there'll be other days. I didn't realize that was the only day. So when you leave here tonight, please make sure you hug a little tighter, you hold hands, you squeeze a little stronger. And always understand that you're a champion, whether you've got a trophy or not, because of what you've been able to overcome. I'm going to turn this over to Andrew, because he's got some goodies to pass out to people.
Well, I've got a goodie for you too. Every year you say. So, wow. Now you can put this on and walk around the station and.
You may see the 6 o'clock news tomorrow.
Awesome.
I guess this is when I go, whoo, for Rick Flair.
I guess so. Brian, thank you. My friend Nate Valentine said, hey, if you're going to do this event, there's really only one guy you need to do it, and that's Brian Milam, and he was exactly right. So thank you every year for giving the time and being part of this. And thank you, Erin, for sharing. I whispered to her up here, she's special. Gosh, it's amazing. So thanks for sharing your story. A couple other people I like to thank before I give out to some of these little gifts to the athletic trainers in the room. William Moorfield from Prep Spin, thank you. This is, again, we've had 5 events because of COVID, but 6 years you've been involved, and, thank you each year for giving your time, not only for this event, of course, but every night that you're out in the field. And, really, he's one of those individuals, just like Brian. They love high school student athletes and they love high school sports. And through their investment in time and energy, it's definitely pretty apparent. So thank you. Physicians Rehab Solution, Tom, Phil, Aaron, just the whole gang. You all are truly amazing partners. And thank you for continuing to be part of this event, continuing to help us. I really can't say enough. So thank you. Bluegrass Specialty Surgery Center, Laura Audie and her team, again, very special folks. They, it's insane the amount of hours these people put in to take care of their patients, and thank you for, again, being part of this as well. Growth Ortho, our team at that level, Pete McCann, Patrick Kiss, and I'm not sure, did he come? Is he here yet? Hopefully Greg is. Thank you for being part of this again, and we have a great team, and thank you. Game One, for those who don't know, Bumblebee Team Sports has now changed over. Their name is Game One. Jimmy Van Epps and his team, thank you for the gifts that you provide our award winners. And, again, 6 years in a row. Also 6 years in a row, Dave Harris and MCF Advisors, Blake Church and Gavin Webb from Arthrex, amazing partners. Dr. Harris and his team from Lexington Diagnostic, again, every year they're here, and every year I'm very thankful. So thank you for coming again. Exact Tech, Jeremy Alexander, Andrew Shrewsbury, and Joe Putnam. I know some of them are caught in a hospital somewhere tonight, working with patients, but thank you for your support. The Bragg team, you're obviously great partners at our clinic, but obviously being here tonight as well is very much appreciated. Chris Reed and Bluegrass Regional Imaging, great partners for BGO, and again, pretty much every year they're here, and that's just a testament to I think, this event. Ron London from London Impressions, and I'm going to introduce a gentleman here in a second, Darren Dillow from Sword. For those who don't know, it's a really neat local Kentucky company that really does an amazing work for not only athletes, but also industrial athletes. And if you go to their website, you'll kind of understand what I mean by that. Michael Petticord, Johnson & Johnson, DePuy MyTech, thank you again for being involved. Thoroughbred Anesthesia, John Edwards and Stace Dollar. I'm going to share this. John Edwards is a special man. Meant a lot for that phone call. Thank you, sir. And then Henry Schein. Some of the products behind here were actually donated from Sports Medicine Supply Company, and their investment is quite special, and we really do appreciate it. So at this time, last thing tonight, I'm going to invite Darren Dillow up here. He's going to help me draw some names for my hat, or basically an envelope. And we have a game ready. We have, let's see, we have a kit. We have a Normatech. We have a few items to kind of give away to some of the student or the high school athletic trainers here tonight, and he's going to help me pull the names so you can blame him. Okay. All right. So first we'll do the biggest one. That's the game ready, and I know Erin mentioned that during her keynote. I think at LCA when I was there, I think we had 3 of these, and they're amazing for recovery, and hopefully it'll be used a lot and people will appreciate it. So let's pick the first name here. What do we got here? Alyssa Hampton. There you go. So, cool. And then next up, we got the Normatech. We'll go grab that next. Cole. You get to come up and get that later too. Awesome. And then lastly, we'll pull actually a couple more. We'll do the kit, the little black kit here. This was a gift from Henry Schein. And Ansley will get that. So she will receive the kit. And last, we'll pull for the Hypervolt. And then all the athletic trainers here tonight will actually get those ASTIM tools. So Ellen, you're getting the Hypervolt. Cool. So thank you. Greatly appreciate it, y'all. Brian, you want to close us out?
He put my Butler Bears logo on there, Morehead State, WKYT in baseball. That's why he is Andrew Carlson. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here, and thank you for everything you do for your children and for your communities and for the student athletes. You are a blessing, and you are our future. So make sure that you do everything you can to do your family proud. Thank you for being here, and I guess they say we'll see you next year at the Bluegrass Orthopedic Night of Champions. Thank you very much.